Hi. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that compliment. Hi, guys. This is Monday. And so that means that it's noon and it is time for lunch and learn with Yvette. So I put out a little notice earlier. Actually, I'm starting a little bit early, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So you can see how excited I am to share this information and this content with you today. So, I love you back. Send my love back to you as well. Thank you so much for the hearts. Again, guys, go ahead and share if you feel that anyone can value from this information. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how to handle rejections. And so if any of us have tried to do anything, we've had some form of rejection, no doubt. I always say if you haven't been rejected in some form or fashion, it just simply means you haven't been trying to do anything. Whether that is rejection in a relationship, you haven't reached out to try to love someone, or rejection and perhaps trying to purchase a car or a house, or rejection where it comes to just trying to grow your own career, which I talk a lot about, right? And so, because I'm definitely your career coach. But today I wanted to share with you a quick story about a client of mine, which started this in me to want to come on the Lunch and Learn and share this information with you as well. So I have this client who applied for a promotion within her current company. And I worked with her to prepare her for that. And one of the things that they wanted her to do, even though she was already a current employee, she still had to go on an interview for the position. And so we had to get her resume together and go through some coaching skills for interviewing, because she had not been on an interview in a very long time. Well, she didn't get the job. She didn't get the promotion that she wanted within her current company. And of course, she was not happy about that. And she was disappointed and she was upset. And so when I sat with her in session and we start looking at, well, why are you upset? And she said, well, I feel like I put so much of my time and I know I could do a job, and then they just rejected me like that. And so we started digging a little deeper about what rejection meant to her. Because my concern for her became this. She decided, she said this. She said, well, they obviously don't want me in management there, so I'm just going to stop trying. And that, for me personally, just pierced my heart, because I'm like, why? My thought was, why would you stop trying to achieve a personal goal simply because you didn't get the job, because someone else didn't see you in that role, because someone else didn't value you or didn't even know how to value what she was bringing to the table? So she was just going to quit even trying. And so I'm a coach, right? So I couldn't let her go out like that. So I continued to work with her, and we coached her to the place where we decided, I got her to this place where she decided to leverage the resume that we had worked on, to leverage that resume and use it, since the resume she put the effort and the time into it, and we put it on the job boards, and I made some calls on her behalf. And within 4 weeks of doing that, she was interviewing. She wanted to be a leader over a group of PMs. So I'm excited because today she's doing just that. She had to leave the current company and apply outside the company to get to where she wanted to be. So now she's leading a group of project managers. She's making more money than she did at the previous company. She feels extremely valued in her new environment, and she is really growing, and she's doing really well. What got me on this thing is that when she started, we had a session last week, and she was just talking about all this joy, and I could hear it in her voice. I was like, she would have missed all of this, if she had just caved in and quit because she felt rejected and undervalued at her previous company. So I want to jump on today's Lunch and Learn and talk to you about that, because I don't want that to happen to you. If you have a friend, a relative whom you think can benefit from this type of information, hit them up right now, guys. Because I have something that I want to share on how to move forward when you've gone through a similar situation of feeling that you've been rejected, regardless of whatever it is, and whatever arena it is in your life. The tool, the tip that I am going to share will apply in your relationships. If you feel that someone doesn't know how to love you back, and is not really loving you appropriately, and you feel rejected from that person, whether it is a parent. You know, I have clients who it's not always about a husband or a wife or a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but have felt in relationships that they didn't get the love that they needed and deserved from even their own parents or a sibling. So that's a form of feeling rejected, especially for people who didn't grow up in a two-parent household. Oftentimes they feel rejected by their fathers. And so this tool, this tip that I'm going to share today can be applied there. It definitely can be applied in the job market when you've applied for a position and you didn't get it, or where you felt that you have like bust your tail on that job, bringing top level work, and they look you over for the promotion. That's another form of rejection. I felt rejected when the first loan officer, when my husband and I was trying to build this house, and they said, oh, your debt and income ratio doesn't quite work, and they didn't approve our loan. That was 12 years ago, guys, and I've been in this house enjoying every moment here because I refuse to quit and give up on my dreams, as I'm teaching my clients not to do the same. So one thing I'll tell you guys, like I was sharing the story early when we started today on this Lunch and Learn with my client, I just refuse to let her quit. So here's the deal. I want to just give you some little nuggets as people are coming on. Hi, Ebony. Hi, Christina. I'm so glad you guys have joined. On just rejection in itself. So, you know, once I put this notice out that we will be talking about rejection today, I used the theme of rejection can be that very thing that just take your rocket higher. It could be that motion, that energy, that fuel that just move you and propel you forward if you allow it to be. See, I see rejection as just simple information, and it's all about how you deal with that information. So Simon T. Bailey is a speaker and an author. He has a great book out called Brilliancy. I highly recommend that book. But one of the things that Simon says, right? You like that? Simon says, rejection is a gift more valuable than gold because it can shift you from average thinking into brilliancy. And it really can. If you allow rejection to be just a form of information, but not something that defines you, then you can take that and you start thinking out of the box to move yourself forward so you can achieve your goal and what you want to achieve. My pastor has said for years this phrase, and I'm sure all of you are probably familiar with that, but I'm going to say it because I like it. And that is, a setback is just a setup for a comeback. It's all about how you think and how you see that rejection. Now, one of the things my husband personally love to say when stuff doesn't go his way, he'll say, I'm allowing my haters to be my motivators. They're not going to make a decision for me. And so he used that rejection to be that energy that moves him forward. What I say is never quit until you win. And so my tip today is based off a premise that I've lived my life by. And it is this: no one can define who I am. No human being can and will define what I can and cannot have. They can't do that. You know, I know for a fact, you know, I am a faith-based person. I live off the Word of God, and that's where I go and I get my identity from that. And I won't allow any man, because the Word says that all men are imperfect people. So why I'm going to let an imperfect person to define who Yvette should be, what Yvette can have, and where Yvette can go. So I look at things in two categories when it comes to rejection. The first one is that there are people who have the fear of rejection. Those are the people who never even make an attempt to go and do anything because they are so afraid that if they tried, they wouldn't be successful, so they don't try at all. And I believe that person who has the fear of rejection, they think too highly of other people's opinion of them. And so I can't even, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I can't even comprehend that fear. Now, I've worked with people who have that fear, But from a personal level, I can't comprehend it. And here's why. Because I can't see myself thinking so low of myself that I put somebody else's opinion so much higher. The second area of rejection that I see is that people become sad and depressed, like I referred to my client. I didn't even talk about how emotionally broke she became because she didn't get the promotion, right, that she applied for at home company. First of all, she was really upset that she had to apply for the job because she felt that she was already doing the job, but they made her apply for it even though she was a current employee who was already acting in that role of leading other PMs on the team. But she went through what I call the circus hoops, right, in the current company and following their rules and their processes, and she still didn't get the job. And she allowed that to just bring her spirit down. She was losing hope. And hope is just that feeling that what you desire is possible. And never allow anybody to take that feeling, that feeling of what you desire is possible for you. So, and I talked about that on yesterday when I was down at the Sightseeing Chapel Church there in Columbus, Georgia. But I haven't forgotten where I was. So the second area I see where it comes to feeling and being in a place of rejection is what I'm saying is that people just quit, as my client was preparing to do, because they didn't get what they wanted the first time they tried and they felt so rejected. And I think the problem in that scenario is that people don't understand who they are. So here it is, guys. Here's my tip. Here's a philosophy that I've lived my life by. It's quite simple. I, Yvette, Mian, Shepherd, Gavin, have an opinion of Yvette. And so I feel that most people don't have an opinion of themselves. And so people who have the fear of others not liking them or others going to reject them, then they take on that other person's opinion. In most cases, because they don't have a strong opinion of who they are themselves. And then those who get upset when they are rejected, I say, you know, if you don't see yourself as that person that someone else saw, or if you don't devalue yourself as someone else devalued you, then there's nothing to be upset about, right? So that's why it's important for you to understand who you are. That is the basis and the foundation, no matter where the rejection is coming from. If it's a man who's rejecting you, too bad if he didn't know how to value you, right? But you need to know how to value you. What if it's a woman? You know, I see that all the time as well, that women are also rejecting men. Same thing. You know, what if I had given up the first time a bank said that they wouldn't extend me, my husband and I, the loan for this property? I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been here for 12 years. I wouldn't be enjoying this beautiful lake and these acres of land that we're on. But I am, because I didn't take that. In my opinion of Yvette and James, we were more than capable of owning this property. And so because one person said no, didn't mean that the next person was going to say no. So we kept knocking, and it only took one other banker, and then our loan was approved. So I'm saying you push on. Yesterday, because I don't allow anyone else's opinion to be higher than my own opinion of myself, I pushed on, and I found myself yesterday on a platform, stage speaking, and I was a keynote speaker. And when I came down off the stage, or I should say the pulpit in his church, my father was the first person who greeted me. And my dad embraced me. Hi, Michelle. So good to see you. My father embraced me. He gave me a hug. And he said, I'm so proud of you. You did a great job. And then as we were pulling away from our hug, he looked at me, and my dad said, and my dad is not a man to give a lot of compliments. I didn't grow up with parents who really complimented their 5 kids a lot. You know, they taught us strong work ethics, and they taught us how to understand God and faith, but not people who really complimented their kids, right? So this was big for me. I ain't gonna lie, guys. So with that, my dad looked at me and he says, whatever you put your mind to, you do it, and you do it well. And I thanked him. I was humble. But when I was driving back up in the car with my husband, I started reflecting on the day. And I was reflecting on this time that I would be here with you today as well. And I started thinking about rejection. And it came back to me how many times I had been rejected when I've tried to get speaking engagements. I remember back in early 2000, I actually had an invitation to go speak at a local church here in Atlanta. And when I got there that Saturday morning, the parking lot was completely empty. There was nobody there. And, I saw it was no cars there, but I'm me. So I'm up, I get out of my vehicle. I had my armor bearer with me, and she and I are just going all around the church, just trying to find an open door. But we could clearly see nobody was there. It was like 2 days later before I got information on what happened. They actually had canceled the event, and no one thought to notify me, the speaker. That was a feeling of rejection, because it was almost like I wasn't even important enough, right? But I refused to accept that, because